Dear audience, you are following the News of America Daily News. I'm editor John Tyson. Today is October 4th, 2020, there will be the following main news. 1. President Trump could return to White House as early as tomorrow if conditions continue to improve. 2. Biden plans to attend next debate, hopes Trump will be able to participate. 3. Trump's COVID diagnosis thrusts coronavirus pandemic back to forefront of White House race. 4. Representative McCarthy rips Pelosi for unbecoming reaction to Trump coronavirus diagnosis, rather disgusting. 5. VP Pence and Second Lady test negative for COVID, twice in 3 days. 6. North Carolina Senate race in chaos after Cunningham sexting scandal, Tillis coronavirus diagnosis. 7. Schumer urges McConnell to delay Supreme Court hearing amid coronavirus outbreak, it's not safe. 8. NYPD officers will face disciplinary action for not wearing face masks, report. 9. Seattle protesters arrested after explosive thrown at officers, buildings tagged with anti-cop graffiti. 10. Mississippi father and son face assault charges for chasing after, firing at teens on ATVs. 11. Hurricane Center, closely monitoring, tropical wave in Caribbean, could develop into Delta. 12. Weather today. First, let's get to coronavirus and politics news. President Trump could return to White House as early as tomorrow if conditions continue to improve. GOP leader Representative Kevin McCarthy argued there should be more consideration for the well-being of President Trump and others following the commander-in-chief's coronavirus diagnosis. McCarthy, R. California, told Sunday Morning Futures that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's reaction to the news was rather disgusting. Pelosi, D. California, called Trump's behavior a brazen invitation to the diagnosis. This is uncalled for, especially in this time and place, he said. Other nations are watching America. This is the one time we could unite together. Trump is sitting here trying to work with this speaker to get a COVID relief package together. And these are the comments that she makes. It's really unbecoming of that position. The leader recalled having a conversation with the president Friday night, and said he was most worried about the others who had also contracted the virus. He said Trump appreciated the well wishes but was still hard at work. McCarthy also reacted to recently released, declassified Russian intelligence, suggesting that Hillary Clinton approved a plan in July 2016 to stir up scandal between then-candidate Trump and President Vladimir Putin. Dr. Brian Garibaldi, with Johns Hopkins Hospital in Baltimore, said Trump has completed his second dose of remdesivir and has exhibited no side effects as far as his team can tell. His team will therefore continue plans to keep him on the medication over a 5-day period. In response to transient low oxygen levels, the president also has begun dexamethasone therapy and was given his first dose Saturday. Garibaldi said the president feels well Sunday and the team plans to have him eat and be up and about as much as possible to be mobile. And if he continues to look and feel as well as he does today, our hope is that we can plan for a discharge as early as tomorrow to the White House where he can continue his treatment course. As with any illness, there are particular ups and downs over the course, especially when a patient is being so closely watched 24 hours a day, Conley said. The president wanted me to share how proud he is of the group, what an honor it is for him to be receiving his care here at Walter Reed and be surrounded by such incredible talent, academic leaders, department chairs, internationally renowned researchers and clinicians, including the support of Dr. Garibaldi from Johns Hopkins. I'd like to reiterate how pleased we all are with the president's recovery, Conley said. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows said on Justice with Judge Jeanine Saturday night that the president was experiencing symptoms that had his staff real concerned on Friday, including fever and low blood oxygen level, but that he has since improved. Next. Biden plans to attend next debate, hopes Trump will be able to participate. Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden will travel to Florida to participate in the next debate, and hopes that President Trump will be able to join him despite the president testing positive for the novel coronavirus late last week. Simone Sanders, a senior campaign advisor to Biden, said on Sunday that the former vice president is looking forward to the October 15 town hall-style debate in Miami and that he is hoping Trump will be well enough to attend. We are looking forward to the debate on October 15 in Miami, Sanders said during an interview on CNN's State of the Union. It's a town hall and, as you know, Vice President Biden loves a good town hall. Sanders added, and we are hoping President Trump can participate. We're hoping that he's medically able to participate, and that is up to his doctors to clear him. But Joe Biden will be at that debate. The future of the next presidential debate was thrown in jeopardy after the president revealed in the early morning hours last Friday that he and First Lady Melania Trump had contracted the coronavirus. Since Trump's announcement, numerous members of his White House inner circle and his re-election campaign have come down with the contagion. We hope that Trump is medically able to participate, that is up to his doctors to clear him, Sanders said. But Joe Biden will be at that debate. Trump is currently receiving treatment at Walter Reed National Military Medical Center in Maryland with Dr. Sean Conley, the president's physician, saying Trump was given a steroid dexamethasone after his blood oxygen level had dropped suddenly twice in recent days. Trump's team said Sunday that Trump received oxygen at the White House on Friday, but they were not clear on whether he received any Saturday. The additional details emerged after White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows on Saturday said some of Trump's vital signs were very concerning. Friday, that disclosure contradicted a more rosy assessment Trump's doctors had initially provided. Since becoming infected with the virus, Trump's campaign has either postponed or moved to a virtual format any events the president was expected to take part in. Neither the campaign nor the Commission on Presidential Debates has made a statement regarding the possibility of Trump participating in the October 15 debate, but the town hall comes just 13 days after Trump announced he had tested positive for COVID-19. Biden, who shared a stage with Trump at last week's presidential debate in Cleveland, Ohio, has tested negative for the virus, but Sanders said Sunday that the Democratic nominee will receive another COVID test on Sunday and will continue to do so regularly. What I want to communicate is that we are not concerned because we are being safe, Sanders said. Both Trump, 74, and Biden, 77, are in an age group that is highly susceptible to suffering severe complications from the coronavirus. 8 of 10 COVID-19 deaths in the United States have been in adults 65 years of age or older, according to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Next, Trump's COVID diagnosis thrusts coronavirus pandemic back to forefront of White House race. GOP leader Representative Kevin McCarthy argued there should be more consideration for the well-being for the president in his campaign. The bad news didn't end with his coronavirus diagnosis. Two key players in the combined forces of the president's re-election team and the Republican National Committee also tested positive for COVID-19. Trump campaign manager Bill Stepien and RNC chair Ronna McDaniel. Trump debate coach and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie on Saturday was also hospitalized after testing positive. And the two remaining presidential debates, scheduled for October 15 and 22, are now very much up in the air, potentially robbing Trump of his last remaining opportunities to move the needle in the White House race. And with the clock ticking and the president trailing Biden in the latest public opinion polls in many of the key battleground states that will decide the White House winner, the spotlight in the presidential election has dramatically shifted once again. Just 2 weeks after the death of trailblazing Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg rocked the race for the White House, giving the president an opportunity to rally Republicans by moving to quickly confirm a conservative justice to succeed the liberal-leaning Ginsburg on the High Court, the focus of the campaign has been upended again. The president's confirmation early Friday morning that he and First Lady Melania Trump had tested positive for COVID-19 instantly put the focus of the White House race firmly back on the coronavirus and the Trump administration's efforts to fight the pandemic. That was further heightened hours later, when Trump was admitted to Walter Reed. It's not good news for the president in that the focus is now going to be on COVID-19, and when the focus is on COVID-19, Biden has a 10, 11, 12-point advantage, veteran Republican pollster and communications consultant Frank Luntz said. The Daily Briefing with Dana Perino. Luntz stressed that the economy is Donald Trump's strength, and the fact that he can't get out there now is going to be a challenge for the campaign. Chris Wallace agreed that the coronavirus and the president's handling of it is going to the top of the agenda. Wallace, who moderated Tuesday's first presidential debate between Biden and Trump, spotlighted on America's Newsroom that the pandemic becomes the most important issue. The general feeling on some people's part is that the president hasn't been cautious enough. and that Biden has been too cautious. That's going to be an issue now going forward. The pandemic swept the nation in February and March. 2 weeks ago, the nation passed another grim milestone, as more than 200,000 COVID-19 related deaths were recorded, with than 7 million infections confirmed across the country. Over the past 7 months, Biden has repeatedly criticized the president, charging Trump initially downplayed the severity of the outbreak, and then botched the federal government's response. Trump and his campaign have repeatedly pushed back on such criticism, citing among other things the administration's early effort to restrict air travel with China, where, hours before the president was hospitalized, Biden was out on the campaign trail, speaking in the key swing state of Michigan. He curtailed his criticism of Trump, and his campaign later highlighted that they were pulling all negative ads. But the former vice president emphasized that Trump's coronavirus diagnosis is a bracing reminder to all of us that we have to take this virus seriously. It's not going away automatically. The news is a reminder that we as a nation need to do better in dealing with this pandemic. Biden's comments came 3 days after Trump, who avoided wearing a mask in public until July, and who continues to resist any forceful urging of Americans to wear masks, once again mocked Biden for wearing a mask, saying at Tuesday's debate that, "I don't wear a mask like him. Every time you see him, he's got a mask. He could be speaking 200 feet away and he shows up with the biggest mask I've ever seen." Biden, who's called for mask mandates across the country, on Friday re-upped his pitch as he called for mandates nationwide, and he urged Americans to be patriotic. It's not about being a tough guy. It's about doing your part. Wearing a mask is not only going to protect you, but it also protects those around you. Your mom, your dad, your brother, sister, husband, wife, neighbor, co-worker. Don't just do it for yourself. The president's condition now makes it extremely hard for him to make the case that he's repeatedly argued in recent weeks, that we're turning the corner on the battle against the outbreak, and that it's time to reopen the economy. McCarthy, the founding executive director of Georgetown University's Institute of Politics and Public Service and a Fox News contributor, said the news complicates things for the Trump campaign, which he noted has tried to focus on the debate on everything but COVID, and when they do talk about it, they've tried to argue that the response has been effective. It will be much harder for them to do either of those things now. Biden holds a firm lead over Trump when it comes to coronavirus polling. The most recent national poll indicated that by a 52%-44% margin, voters trusted the former vice president more than the president to do a better job handling the crisis. McCarthy, a senior spokesman for Hillary Clinton's 2008 presidential campaign, who later served as communications director for the Democratic National Committee, said, "The question is whether or not this serves as a wake-up call for those who don't take COVID seriously. It will be a lot harder for people to downplay it now, and ensures that COVID will continue to be the #1 issue on everyone's mind. If this disease can work its way into the Oval Office, it's further proof that anyone can get it," raising the stakes in the debate over the government's response. For the president and his campaign, the bad news didn't end with his coronavirus diagnosis. 2 key players in the combined forces of the president's re-election team and the Republican National Committee also tested positive for COVID-19. Trump campaign manager Bill Stepien and RNC chair Ronna McDaniel. Trump debate coach and former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie on Saturday was also hospitalized after testing positive. And the 2 remaining presidential debates, scheduled for October 15 and 22, are now very much up in the air, potentially robbing Trump of his last remaining opportunities to move the needle in the White House race. For now, with Trump sidelined, his campaign will rely on Vice President Mike Pence and other surrogates to try and pick up the pace. But Luntz sees a possible silver lining in the president's hospitalization. "I believe that he should make a statement to the public as Boris Johnson did after he got sick, and it's a chance for him to say, here's what we're going to do, here's what we've done, and here's what we will be doing over the coming days, weeks, and months," for him to be empathetic. Luntz noted that the president's basically 6.5 to 7 points behind with just 30 days to go, so I think he needs to use this as an opportunity to reframe, reshape, and communicate to the public what he did so effectively 4 years ago. Next, Representative McCarthy rips Pelosi for unbecoming reaction to Trump coronavirus diagnosis, "rather disgusting." GOP leader Representative Kevin McCarthy argued there should be more consideration for the well-being of President Trump and others following the commander-in-chief's coronavirus diagnosis. McCarthy, R. California, told Sunday Morning Futures that House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's reaction to the news was rather disgusting. Pelosi, D. California, called Trump's behavior a brazen invitation to the diagnosis. This is uncalled for, especially in this time and place, he said. Other nations are watching America. This is the one time we could unite together. Trump is sitting here trying to work with this speaker to get a COVID relief package together. And these are the comments that she makes. It's really unbecoming of that position. The leader recalled having a conversation with the president Friday night, and said he was most worried about the others who had also contracted the virus. He said Trump appreciated the well wishes but was still hard at work. McCarthy also reacted to recently released, declassified Russian intelligence, suggesting that Hillary Clinton approved a plan in July 2016 to stir up scandal between then-candidate Trump and President Vladimir Putin. The information was swapped in a September 29 letter from Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe to Senator Lindsey Graham, Rs.C. No one in Congress, the House, or the Senate has ever seen this information, even though we have spent all these years investigating, he revealed. Now remember former FBI agent Peter Strzok, he was on Crossfire Hurricane and the Mueller report, and never once did this intelligence show up anywhere. This is the biggest news that didn't get reported. The fact that former CIA Director John Brennan, former FBI Director James Comey and President Obama were aware of Clinton's alleged formulation and never brought it to the attention of Congress, McCarthy said, was a waste of 2 years. This should drive every member of Congress to go get the underlying information that John Ratcliffe has just made transparent to the world, he said. Next. VP Pence and Second Lady test negative for COVID, twice in 3 days. Vice President Mike Pence and his wife, Karen, have again tested negative again for COVID-19 just days after President Trump and the First Lady were diagnosed with the virus, White House officials confirmed to Fox News. Pence and the Second Lady first tested negative for the virus on Friday, just hours after Trump, Melania Trump, and White House advisor Hope Hicks confirmed they'd tested positive for the virus. Officials said the last time Pence and Trump were in close contact was Tuesday morning in the Oval Office. Both are tested regularly for the virus, as are most officials and staff who are in close proximity to the president. Pence is expected to continue campaigning this week with no changes to protocols meant to keep him from getting infected. The vice president is set to debate Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris on Wednesday night in Salt Lake City. Next. North Carolina Senate race in chaos after Cunningham sexting scandal, Tillis coronavirus diagnosis. The critical and expensive Senate race in North Carolina, central to determining which party controls the upper chamber, was thrown into uncertainty this weekend. Within the span of just a few hours on Friday, Republican incumbent Tom Tillis announced that he had tested positive for the coronavirus, while his Democratic challenger, Cal Cunningham, acknowledged and apologized for exchanging sexually suggestive text messages with a woman who is not his wife. Tillis has mild symptoms, a spokesperson said Saturday, and the diagnosis forced the first-term senator to cancel in-person events with just 1 month until the election. He is one of several Republican officials to contract the virus in recent days, including President Trump and Senators Ron Johnson, RWIS, and Mike Lee, R. Utah. It's chaos, it's really what I see it is, David McLennan, a political science professor at Meredith College in Raleigh, said Saturday. Cunningham, who has led in polls throughout the summer and raked in a record-setting $28.3 million in donations over the past 3 months, apologized Friday for the romantic text messages that he sent. A spokeswoman for Cunningham's campaign, Rachel Petrie, confirmed on Saturday the authenticity of the text messages, which were first reported by the website nationalfile.com. I have hurt my family, disappointed my friends, and am deeply sorry. The first step in repairing those relationships is taking complete responsibility, which I do, Cunningham, who is married with 2 teenage children, said in a statement late Friday. Screenshots of the messages show Cunningham told public relations strategist Arlene Guzman-Todd, "Would make my day to roll over and kiss you about now," to which she replies, "You're so sweet. I would enjoy that." Another shows Guzman-Todd tell Cunningham, "The only thing I want on my to-do list is you," to which Cunningham replies, "Sounds so hot and so fun." But Gary Pierce, a longtime state Democratic consultant, said it's unclear how much of an effect the text messages will have on the election. "Most Democrats are really scared by it, but then you wonder, has everything changed in the age of President Trump?" Pierce said. He noted that Democrats may stand by Cunningham because the seat is key to the party winning control of the Senate. The race is the nation's most expensive Senate campaign and is second only to the presidential campaign in terms of overall outside spending, according to the Center for Responsive Politics. Independent expenditure groups have poured more than $97 million into the race, data shows. Republicans are fighting to hold a slim 53-47 majority in the Senate as Democrats target several GOP-held seats they believe are competitive. In order to take back the Senate, Democrats would need to pick up 3 additional seats and win the White House. The GOP is hoping to win back the Alabama seat held by Democratic incumbent Senator Doug Jones, who is considered to be one of the most vulnerable senators. But Democrats are going after Republican senators in a growing number of states, including Maine, Colorado, Georgia, Iowa, Montana, North Carolina, and South Carolina. Next. Schumer urges McConnell to delay Supreme Court hearing amid coronavirus outbreak. "It's not safe." Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said it's not safe for the Senate Judiciary Committee to move forward with hearings for President Trump's Supreme Court nominee amid a coronavirus outbreak that's infected 3 Republican senators. "If it's not safe for the Senate to meet in session, it's not safe for the hearings to go forward," Schumer, DNY, said during a Sunday press conference. Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, RKY, on Saturday said the Senate would not meet as planned this week after Senators Mike Lee, R. Utah, Tom Tillis, RN.C. and Ron Johnson, RWIS, tested positive for COVID-19 over the weekend. Tillis and Lee, who have said they will self-isolate for 10 days, are both members of the Senate Judiciary Committee. Their COVID-19 diagnosis came shortly after Trump announced early Friday that he and First Lady Melania Trump had tested positive for the coronavirus. But despite the increase in confirmed coronavirus cases on Capitol Hill, where lawmakers and their staffers are not required to be routinely tested, Republican leaders signaled they would move forward with their efforts to confirm Judge Amy Coney Barrett before the November 3 presidential election. The Senate's floor schedule will not interrupt the thorough, fair, and historically supported confirmation process previously laid out, McConnell said in a statement. The Senate Judiciary Committee is slated to begin 4 days of confirmation hearings on October 12, a move that Schumer condemned as nonsensical. Mitch McConnell seems to be jamming through the hearings on Amy Coney Barrett, even though 3 senators have COVID, even though he has said it is not safe for the Senate to meet in sessions, he said. But it's okay to have the hearings. It makes no sense. He continued, for Mitch McConnell to go ahead with the hearing endangers the safety of not only senators, but staff on the Hill. There is no reason on God's green earth why this shouldn't be delayed. Trump nominated Barrett September 26 in the wake of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg's death. If Republicans confirm Barrett, it would tilt the bench 6-3 in favor of conservatives. Democrats have criticized Republicans' decision to fill the seat before the November 3 presidential election as hypocritical, after McConnell in 2016 refused to hold a Senate vote on Merrick Garland, who was nominated to the court by former President Barack Obama after the death of Justice Antonin Scalia. McConnell held the seat open until after the election and inauguration of Trump in 2017. Justice Neil Gorsuch was nominated and later confirmed in April 2017. GOP senators contend this year is unlike 2016. Because the same party controls both the White House and the Senate. Democrats cannot stop Barrett's nomination without a Senate majority, but senators have readied tactics to disrupt and obstruct the process for as long as they can, using a wide range of procedural tools. That could include invoking the so-called 2-hour rule, a move that halts all committee business after the Senate has been in session for longer than 2 hours, along with delaying a final committee vote by 1 week, denying a quorum, or even impeaching the president, among other tactics. "We will use every tool in the toolbox to delay and not have the votes occur," Schumer said. Next. NYPD officers will face disciplinary action for not wearing face masks, report. New York City police officers will be required to wear face masks, with officers who fail to comply with the coronavirus safety rules to face disciplinary action, according to reports. In an email sent out on Friday, officers were told that they are required to wear face coverings at all times. When performing duties in public areas, department facilities, and whenever social distancing is not possible, ABC 7 News reported. Officers must also wear appropriate and proper face masks rather than scarves, bandanas, or handkerchiefs. Failure to adhere to the rules will result in disciplinary action, though the memo did not specify specific punishments. The memo was sent out from the NYPD's Personnel and Human Resources Division, the New York Post reported. Officers at police headquarters heard repeated messages over loudspeakers reminding them to wear face coverings. It is our responsibility to set the example for our great city. And do everything we can to help ensure we do not have another hospitalized member. Bring this deadly infection into our homes, or have another funeral, Chief of Department Terrence Monahan said in a video memo that was sent to all officers' phones. The new measure was implemented following public complaints that officers were frequently seen without masks while on duty, Insider reported. Wearing a mask is the law, Governor Andrew Cuomo said in a press briefing last month. But the police officer who's supposed to enforce the law doesn't wear a mask. The city has seen a few concerning clusters, with the health department tracking 4 clusters of coronavirus cases in southern Brooklyn, Williamsburg, central Queens, and Far Rockaway. Next. Seattle protesters arrested after explosive thrown at officers, buildings tagged with anti-cop graffiti. Seattle police arrested more than a dozen protesters who allegedly vandalized buildings and threw an explosive at officers during a demonstration Saturday night, authorities said. A group of protesters marched from Cal Anderson Park shortly after 9 p.m., and a few members of the group began damaging property along the way, police said in a news release. The group shattered windows of a Starbucks coffee shop and threw an explosive inside, according to police. Photos showed graffiti spray painted on buildings reading "Kill Cops" and "Save a Life, Hang a Cop." Police declared an unlawful assembly and ordered the crowd to disperse. As officers began moving the crowd out of the area, police said an explosive was thrown at officers. A total of 16 protesters were arrested for property destruction, assault, failure to disperse and rendering criminal assistance, police said. After a violent spate of vandalism throughout the city last weekend, Seattle's interim police chief, Adrian Diaz, told KOMO News that the violence must stop. If there are people going out and peacefully protesting, we will help facilitate that peaceful protest, Diaz said. But if they are coming to create this mayhem, we are going to address this mayhem. He said there were plans for staffing changes, with at least 100 officers moving from other departments and back to patrol to reduce 911 response times. Next. Mississippi father and son face assault charges for chasing after, firing at teens on ATVs. A father and son in Mississippi were charged with assault last week after allegedly chasing 2 teenagers on ATVs, firing shots at both, striking no one. No additional charges have been announced, as authorities in Yazoo County work to determine whether there's enough evidence to establish a possible hate crime. The 2 men are white, and the teens are black. Wade Oscar Twiner, 48, and Lane Irvine Twiner, 22, were arrested September 27. They each were charged with 3 counts of aggravated assault, Fox 23 reported, citing online court records. They each could face up to 20 years behind bars if convicted as charged. The sheriff's office responded around 7:30 p.m. that day to a call about 2 men in a white Chevy pickup truck chasing 2 people riding 4-wheelers on Ridge Road, WAPT reported. Deputies arrived in the area and stopped the truck and ATVs. The teens reportedly told deputies the men fired at them from their truck and continued to chase after them. The Twiners allegedly admitted to deputies that they fired at the teens, who they said were speeding and driving erratically, and chased after them to determine who they were and try to apprehend them. The father and son told deputies they owned the property on both sides of Ridge Road, and shouldn't have to deal with people riding ATVs on the roadway, claiming it was against the law. Yazoo County Sheriff Jacob Sheriff said the Twiners pursued the teens and tried to stop them and to shoot them, and bumped them with the 4-wheeler, so they were charged with aggravated assault, WLBT reported. We're still looking at some things on that to see if we can establish a hate crime or not. We've got to get with the data and look at the statutes to say whether that would be a hate crime or not, he said. The mother of one of the teens, who requested to remain anonymous, told WLBT she found it difficult to believe her son was shot at and almost run off the road for no reason, adding that, Not only did they shoot at him, they also ran into the back of his four-wheeler, and that could also have been murder right then and there. Next. Hurricane Center, closely monitoring, tropical wave in Caribbean, could develop into Delta. As the 24th named storm of a busy 2020 Atlantic hurricane season swirls off Mexico's Yucatan Peninsula, forecasters are monitoring an area of disturbed weather in the Caribbean that could bring trouble to the Gulf of Mexico. The National Hurricane Center, NHC, said that it is closely monitoring a tropical wave currently located over the central Caribbean Sea. This system now has a high chance of becoming a tropical depression during the next 5 days, the NHC said. According to forecasters, the tropical wave is located a couple of 100 miles southeast of Jamaica with an area of showers and thunderstorms. The system is forecast to enter an area conducive for additional development, with a tropical depression likely to form within the next day or so. Forecasters from the NHC say there's a 70% chance of formation in the next 48 hours and an 80% chance over the next 5 days. The storm is expected to move west across the central and western Caribbean Sea through Tuesday, then head into the southern or southeastern Gulf of Mexico on Tuesday night into Wednesday. Locally heavy rainfall and gusty winds will be possible across portions of Hispaniola, Jamaica, Cuba, and the Cayman Islands during the next few days, and tourists on those islands should monitor the progress of this disturbance, the NHC said. Next will be the weather forecast for tonight and tomorrow. Please like and subscribe to follow the latest daily news. Don't forget to comment your opinion on this newsletter. Thank you for your time. Goodbye and see you in the next news.